What's the Tea Network is a LGBT podcast. It was an award-winning podcast from Atlanta Magazine for 2018 and 2019. Yeah.
Hi, and welcome to Kelly, where we talk about life, your life and my life. And through Kelly, we hope to inspire. I have Arica Love Royal on the show today. And we're going to talk about your podcast.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about what it is to be a transgender. And I am so ignorant on the topic. So please correct me on anything that I say wrong or anything that I say right. Applaud me. I'm learning. And I love to learn from real people. And we're going to talk about your project that you have coming up.
Yeah.
So podcast first.
Sure. What's the Tea Network is a LGBT podcast. It was an award-winning podcast from Atlanta Magazine for 2018 and 2019.
Yay!
A lot of hard work went into that last year. 50 shows. We
Wow.
covered every type of person in our LGBT community. We had lesbians, we had entertainers, we had drag queens, we had trans people, we had African American. Every single part of our diverse LGBT community, we had them on there. So it was incredible. 50 shows.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it was a lot of work, and to be recognized was incredible. So it was a
Yes.
great honor. I was really proud of the body of work that we did. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when you first wrote me, that's the first thing I did was click on that podcast, and I was like, oh, okay, she's doing something. Yeah, we can talk.
It's exciting.
Yeah. So tell me about your project.
We have an incredible project coming up. It's activism through photography and canvas art, a trans project coming 2019. 13 amazing pieces of photography, 13 incredible pieces of canvas art. They'll all have a title and a bio, something that I went through in my life, good, bad, hard, persevering, hurdles. A lookbook and a documentary as well called After the Shoot, where I stay in the character of what I'm portraying, whether it's a homeless person or a survivor of sexual abuse. And we talk about that topic during After Shoot, filming that documentary. It's difficult, it's emotional, it's bringing up a lot of stuff. I'm a rape survivor myself. Survivor was the most difficult to shoot and film and record because I really had to tap into a lot of stuff that even days after the shoot, I still was processing. I'm like, I thought I healed and went on, and you're still dealing with this. And as a trans person, you even have that on top of you.
Right.
So it is a lot. I transitioned and had my surgery 15 years ago. And that is another thing that I really had to deal with, to say, I'm going to put that chapter behind me. It's part of my transition. It's part of my journey, but it's not going to dictate my life. Yeah. So very powerful that we're almost complete on every single thing and just about to go into editing. So it's very exciting. It's with Danielle Ross as the photographer, and Eric Milam is the canvas artist, and myself as the creator. And we are doing some really big things that is going to take us to places that we would have never thought, and got us here on the Kelly Show today.
Right.
So very exciting.
And you have a guest that we don't have mic'd, but you want to introduce.
I would love to introduce my friend and the photographer with activism through photography and canvas art, Danielle S. Ross. Let me just give a shout out for her website, Danielle S. Ross photo.com. She just did some press release with Voyage ATL. She has a show called Headshots Middle States coming up, and that exhibit is going to be October the 5th and 6th, and that's at the Atlanta School of Photography. For more information, you can either log onto my page or hers and see all that. Third thing we have coming up.
Awesome, thank you.
Third thing we have coming up is I'm doing a book, and it's called We All Dance Under the Same Rainbow.
Okay.
50 states, 50 trans men and women from each of those 50 states talking about their journey, their transition, their life, a bio, and what it's like to live as a trans person in that state. A little bit before the interview, you were talking about you have a transgender young person in your family that is just starting to identify as trans.
Right.
That's exciting.
And it's quite amazing to me. First of all, that my family has really handled. This is my brother's stepchild. and I feel very, very close to him. His name is Chase. His gender name, I guess you call Chastity. I don't know. You can educate me on that. I don't know.
Once he starts to transition, then it's just his normal name.
Okay.
His new name.
Right. So yeah, it's interesting. He's pretty open. He talks about it. His mother, she's never shamed him for it. Never, and that I love.
Yeah.
But in that same aspect, I don't really understand a lot of of what goes on.
Sure.
It's confusing because I think in my mind, I mean, there's times where I've hated being a girl. In my next life, I'm definitely going to be born a boy because they own more of the world. But actually going through just what it takes to transition.
Right.
That's a big, huge commitment. Right. And what if that's not something you can ever go back on.
Right. As a parent, you have to step back and say, I have to allow you to explore this first. Mm-hmm. And then if it's something that you really are 100%, then the family is going to say, okay, we're going to allow you to transition if you're underage. And we're both just going to be exploring this transition. I don't know anything more than you don't know. As a young transgender person, you're kind of putting the pieces together as you go along in the beginning. And if mom and dad are supportive, then those puzzle pieces will start to kind of fit and click. If mom and dad or the family is like, the pieces can seem scattered.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to let your child say, is this a phase you're going through?
Exactly, yes.
Or is this the way you really want to live your life?
Yeah. Because that's hard as a parent. I have 3 children, and it's not, I could deal with my child being gay or homosexual or whatever, but actually going through that transition and then them regret it. Have you ever regretted?
There are a few stories. Myself, no. I transitioned at 14 with my family allowing.
Wow.
Was name changed, emancipated, legally on hormones at the age of 16.
Wow.
Had my own apartment, worked 2 jobs, my own car. I wanted to be independent because then I was able to transition and go as fast or as slow as I wanted to go. A young person, 8, 10, 12, again, you have to step back and love and support and say, okay, if this is what you really want to do, I'll allow you to explore. And that might be a girl transitioning to a young man, getting his hair cut short for the first time.
Right.
And getting the first pair of something sports.
And letting people see
that.
Let them react to him in that manner.
Right.
Because you're going to have that reaction.
Absolutely.
Even though you've transitioned, you still have people look at you bizarre.
Totally.
So you have to be really okay.
Yeah. Right. And also, I want to make sure that we're clear too. Some people's transition in their journeys, they're never going to be, quote, passable. And that's okay too. Gender and non-binary and gender fluid, it's great. It's how you want to live your life.
Right.
And you can use your pronouns. And in this world, some people are going to respect that and some people aren't. And you have a right as a human being to say and demand that you get the rights and respect as any other human being.
Yeah.
So it's all about how you present yourself, how comfortable you are with yourself. Then you can make others comfortable.
Yeah. And I think with anything you do, like your work, I love people who want to help educate others. Like I said, I don't even have, I've probably in my life met like 2 other transgender people in my life. So and that's it. A lot of people are just ignorant to what they don't know.
Right.
And then they get around people and they're like, okay, this is not.
Totally.
So thank you for that education. Ending. Some information that you. First of all,
I brought some numbers.
Okay, good. And how do people look you up first? How do they follow?
Sure. You can Google me, Arica, Arica Love Royal. There's 500,000 pages on there, or connect with me on social media, Twitter. You can look up our project. It brings me up any kind of way. Back to trans before we close out. We do have some numbers. In 2018. 26 trans women were murdered in America.
Wow.
Last night, in 2019, we are now up to 19.
Wow.
As of last night. At the end of the day, people like to, and especially men, like to put people in little boxes. Black, white, gay, lesbian, trans, all these little boxes, because it makes it easier to discriminate those little boxes, or say that those boxes aren't like us, so we could just dismiss those boxes, or we don't have to include those boxes. Every human being is a being. We're sentient, we love, we hurt, we bleed, we cry, we mourn, we grieve. Live your own life. Let others live their life. And what somebody does in their boat might not work in your boat.
Yeah.
But that person has just as much right to sail that boat along as you do and they do.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not about Black rights or trans rights or human rights. It all comes under human rights.
Right.
If we could get into where we can treat each other like human beings and take all those other stereotypes off of us, we're going to be a better world.
Well, and the thing
altogether.
is we do live in a world with people who think differently than us, and if you change in your body doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
But I do think you have the right to the pursuit of happiness.
Absolutely.
And people. We live in a world where I think we are becoming more acceptable.
We are. I really think we were the last 8 years before Trump.
Yeah.
Now I think we're starting to trek back.
Right.
I think that was out of fear.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we had a Black president. Oh my God, we're progressive. Oh my God, the world's looking at us for the first time.
Yeah.
Like human beings.
Yeah.
And they had to go ahead and quickly destroy that over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Quick on the way out, I just want to give a few shout outs to my Atlanta charities that I love and support.
Okay.
And you may want to have them as guests in the future as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Aid Atlanta. They do so much for HIV and AIDS in Atlanta and beyond. Rick Westerbrook has created the first ever trans homeless Rainbow House Coalition house. Rick Westerbrook, if you're on the streets, you're transgender, you're young, he's a person that can help you on social media. Human Rights Campaign Atlanta, of course. And then Jeff Graham with Georgia Equality. They're all doing great things for our LGBT community and human rights in Atlanta and Georgia.
Well, thank you for coming on and giving us a little gold nugget of education. We appreciate you, and we hope that this segment educates and inspires you.